Today we need to get into V sort of joking about not liking Bang PD. We need to get into V's song Friends being protested and people were demanding that it be deleted from YouTube after something happened. And then we have Bang PD losing potentially millions of dollars. These situations are absolutely crazy and cause a lot of health issues for a lot of different people. So I wanted to recommend today's sponsor. Something we have to talk about is mental health. And we know our boys are a huge mental health advocate. So one thing that we can do for them as well as for ourselves and others around us is to work on getting better mentally, and everyone can use some therapy. So of course today I am partnering with BetterHelp and I have a great discount for you if you're interested. But if you don't know what BetterHelp is, it's an online therapy forum that is a fraction of the cost of regular therapy. Their goal is to make therapy more accessible to everyone, so you start off by answering a questionnaire and you're asked personal questions like your gender identity, orientation, and basically anything that can affect your mental health, as well as questions to figure out what you're currently struggling with, like being tired all the time or having a lot of anxiety. It then matches you with someone who can understand these struggles. So if you're a girl struggling with girl issues, you're not matched with a guy who has never even heard of those issues. They also ask, and probably more importantly, what your goals are so the therapist can work towards that. BetterHelp is a lot more flexible than traditional therapy, as you can talk to them however you want, via messaging, video call. You can even write in your therapy journal, as well as do group sessions if these are things that you're interested in. And stuff ranging from all ages, whether you're a teen to if you're an adult, and even couples. Right now, if you use the link in the description, you can get 10% off your first month, so make sure you check that out. That is betterhelp.com/dumplings. So take a look, it's pretty affordable, and please thank them for sponsoring today's video. This first story is very interesting because people were reporting that Bang PD was opting to not get a salary anymore. It was reported in the news that he will receive less than a penny US money in salary yearly, I think. And this could potentially result in loss of millions of dollars throughout the course of several years. It's rumored that he opted for this less than a penny salary. He might have taken around 500,000 US dollars annually as a salary before. I say this because we don't know exactly how much was given to him. Some of that was considered a bonus, and then others were probably more so at the actual salary. However, his net worth is 1.8 billion, and so a salary of even 500,000 is probably nothing, and he probably spends that much in like a week or something. So of course it sounds amazing that he is opting to choose a really low, virtually free salary. And first off, why would there even be a salary like that, right? Because like, why not just then do the work for free and not even take less than a penny? Well, a very simple answer. It's actually not legal to work for free. So you have to have a minimal amount that you get paid, and so he chose the literal least amount. Of course, I think it's really cool, and I don't mean to minimize his efforts and his love of the company, because clearly if you're going to do this, you have to love the company and not just be someone who's obsessed with making money. But I do want to kind of explain how this works, because I think a lot of people were very confused when they read this particular story. Less than 1 penny of a salary doesn't mean that that's how much money he is making. Rich people don't make money in the same way that most of us make money. It's not through a salary, it's not through a monthly check, it's none of that. They make money from their assets. Making money, since Bang PD owns a percentage of HYBE. Anything that HYBE makes, he gets a percentage of that. That is not considered a part of the salary, that's just the earnings. So while he is not making whatever his salary was before the less than a penny amount, he's still making potentially millions to billions from his shares of his stock and his ownership of the company. Bang PD also probably owns several real estate investment properties, stocks, and he probably has several other businesses outside of the label that he makes a lot of money from. So honestly, the amount that he would have made from his salary really wasn't that much for him, and it makes him look really good that he is not taking a salary from the company, although he's still making millions. Personally, everything that I've seen of the CEOs and the people who run the company are really good things, and I've never had any problems with that. However, there's a lot of people that want the members of BTS to come out and say that they hate the label and they hate the management and they hate all that stuff. However, we probably won't ever see that, because I doubt they actually do hate all of that, because they could have just left many years ago if they wanted to. But the closest that we've gotten to one of the members sort of joking, talking about hating someone, was of course with V. Not too long ago, V was on Weverse, and he ended up seeing an army that wrote a post saying that they love this man with a lot of purple hearts, and the photo was of Bang PD. V responded to the post basically saying, shaking my head, or SMH, and then there was another moment in a video in which someone asked V which was the hardest villain to beat, and then V responded saying it was Bang PD. I think this was funny because in both instances it's obviously a joke, joke. V and all the BTS members are very close to Bang PD. Bang PD kind of raised them when they were little. They kind of see him as a father figure, and of course they're going to be like, ew, Bang PD, because they see him as a father figure. And the fact that he is joking about this stuff and the fact that he is speaking very publicly for Bang PD to even see shows that their relationship is very close, because who else is going to publicly in a video and in a post insult their boss? You have to be close to them to do that. It was interesting because there were some posts saying that because V actually hates Bang PD, that they're going to go ahead and stream V's music more. Now, these posts are obviously a joke too, but I think it's so funny because in no real reality does V actually hate Bang PD. And I think it's important to note that because, well, I'm sure all of this is a joke and people are just being goofy and funny. I think there are a lot of people who genuinely think that the BTS members hate the CEO and hate the people in the company, and I just want to kind of bring up this to show that they clearly don't. Now, people are upset over the recent situation with what HYBE has been doing with V's promotion, so if you are unaware of what I am talking about and you have no idea what's been going on the last week or so, V has a new song rolled out and they're beginning the promotion of it. And the song is basically called Friends. Now, they just dropped the trailer and there's been some controversy on the trailer. Now, the trailer itself is fine. People don't have issues with the actual content of the trailer itself. People are making speculations. They're having a great time coming up with what the music video is going to be about and all that stuff, but they're having an issue with how the label has chosen to roll out the trailer. Of course, you have to keep in mind the primary goal of some of these people within the fandom is to get every piece of content that the BTS members put out or their favorite BTS member puts out to get as many views as possible. This includes things like trailer, which, by the way, I don't really understand the point of getting a trailer to like 10 billion views, but that's what they want. And I guess it has a bit of the song in the trailer too, so as long as there's a piece of content that has the song in the video, then the song might have some extra streams, I guess. Now, people were really upset because the moment that the label drops V's trailer, they also drop a film video for another girl group. People were asking why the label constantly keeps doing this and that they don't understand this, to even accusations of them trying to say that this is their way of trying to promote or push their girl groups. I can't confirm or deny whether that's true or not, but the goal of a label is to maximize profit due to music. So if they feel like they can make the most money doing something a certain way, which in the end benefits everyone, why would they not do that? After all, BTS members, while they may not have a huge chunk of the label, they still own a small chunk of the label, meaning that if the label does well, they still get that profit. Let's be honest here. If any of us can own a multi-billion-dollar company, even a fraction of 1% of it, that is still potentially millions of dollars. And yeah, I would take that. So if I was one of the artists that the label had that small percentage of the company, I would be okay with however the label chooses to promote their artists and their groups to maximize profit, because I'm still making money. And also, something that I want to say is that anyone who works in social media would probably be able to tell you that it doesn't really make sense to what everyone is accusing them of. So everyone is accusing them of using V's video to promote the girl group. However, that doesn't make sense, because any good social media person would tell you that the algorithms on social media work in a way where if the viewer, subscriber, follower doesn't click on the video they're being shown, that video will get less promotion. So that actually hurts the video more than it helps the video. Also, something that social media managers know, if what I just said doesn't actually end up happening, is that videos perform on their own. Meaning, if one video is about BTS and the other one is about something else, that something else will go to a completely different audience versus the BTS content. They're not going to go out to the same people. And yes, they do go out to the same subscription tab where you can see videos that you subscribe to, but no one really checks their subscription feed anymore, and there's actual stats that prove that. Most people just kind of check the front page of YouTube or the front page of their social media platform. So from that, they will very quickly see that if they're an ARMY, they won't get recommended that other piece of content or that other artist. So accusations of the label mistreating V or accusations of them using V actually make no sense, because that's just not how the algorithms work. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thank you for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.